In a strong pushback to Australia's new media bargaining laws, Facebook has decided to black out news content from its social networking platform Down Under. Calling it their last choice, Facebook said it will stop allowing publishers and people in Australia from sharing local and international news on Facebook and Instagram.
So, why has this happened? This has happened because of the new media bargaining code which Australia has been working on. Australia wants big tech players like Google and Facebook to pay publishers based on a deal that they have, which is pre-inked, to say that okay, every year we will give you this much for using or seeing your content on our platforms.
Across the world, publishers have used Facebook as a means to reach out to audiences who use it as a content consumption platform, thus increasing their reach and revenues. All this results in millions of views for news sites referred from Facebook's timeline. At the moment, across the world, news publishers get only a portion of the ad revenues generated from their content or revenue from an agreement with Facebook, like for generating instant articles. However, this revenue is not stable and is dependent to a large extent on the algorithm of the platform, which keeps changing regularly, impacting visibility and reach. Arguing about how the new laws will work against the publishers, William Easton, managing director Facebook Australia and New Zealand, claimed in a blog post, last year Facebook generated approximately 5.1 billion free referrals to Australian publishers worth an estimated 407 million Australian dollars. With the new Facebook move, most of this traffic and revenue will vanish. In the blog post, Easton tried to underline that the code fundamentally misunderstands the relationship between our platform and publishers who use it to share news and content. He also tried to make a distinction between Facebook's relationship with publishers and that of Google's. Google search is inextricably intertwined with news, and publishers do not voluntarily provide their content. On the other hand, publishers willingly choose to post news on Facebook as it allows them to sell more subscriptions, grow their audience, and increase advertising revenue, Easton wrote. This also offered a reasoning for why Google is willing to have a deal with publishers but not Facebook.
But Facebook is saying, hey, we are not going to pay the publishers and we are just going to switch off news. This is because Facebook is saying that news is not really important for it. It is just 4% of its overall business. And it would rather switch off than pay monies for something that it's not really sure will pay dividends for them. In fact, Facebook is also saying that it's already paying a lot of money to publishers in Australia, as it does with publishers across the world. Interestingly, Facebook is also saying this is going to prevent it from rolling out Facebook News to Australia. Now, Facebook News is a completely different platform which it started rolling out in UK first just last month. Now, Facebook is saying this feature won't come to Australia because, hey, you're having a problem with us. This is very interesting and has ramifications across the world. That's because Australia's stand on how big tech's big tech taps into content from publishers is what other countries will also be looking at. Already, for instance, Google is paying publishers in France and is maybe looking at doing similar things across the world. What Facebook has done with news could also have impact on what it does with news in other parts of the world where it's not having a good time with the regulators.